In 2010, I was fortunate enough to go along to Florida along with my family and my mum and dad. And we had an amazing holiday. But the first theme park we visited was SeaWorld, and Joshua and Hannah and Howard decided to go on the ride Mantra, first ride of the holiday. And Russell, my dad, decided he would like to join them. The problem was, before he entered the queue, he could only see part of the ride. So it was much to my mum's horror as we sat and waited that she saw it went upside down on numerous occasions. And she started to panic and said, he's not going to cope with that. He's going to be very sick when he gets off. But I must admit that I was rather amused. And we waited and watched until we could see them coming round on the ride. Now, we didn't see them on the ride, but I was quite surprised when my dad returned and he was still smiling. And they explained that just as they were about to step onto the ride, it had broken down. And so they couldn't go on it. So we took my dad to see the ride, and it was with great horror that he watched, and he was overwhelmingly glad that it had broken down before he got on. And when it was back up and running again, he didn't join the queue for the second time. On this occasion, my dad Russell missed out. You see, if you want to have the thrill of your life, you have to be willing to take the ride. I began last weekend a year-long pioneering course, which is going to last for 12 months, and it's called Forge. And this course equips us to become missional practitioners at the end. But here's the catch. We must be willing to take a risk, to leave the safety of what we know and step out on a risk adventure. Michael Frost and Alan Hershey say this: for good or for ill, we are all players in the living drama going on around us. God has designed us as decision makers in his very image, as agents of the kingdom, not only to partake in history, but to prayerfully shape and direct it in his name as a true act of worship. And the part we play will depend largely on a clear sense of our mission, on the level of integrity and intentionality in what we do, and on the fortitude and integrity with which we do it. In short, it will depend on our desire to muster not only leaps of faith, but to cultivate a faith of leap. And I've thought a lot about this over the last few days, and the fact that as Christians, we're called to take a risk for Jesus. Our God took a risk for us by coming to earth as a vulnerable human being. He put himself on the line for us. In Matthew, we read these words: as Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. Come, follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. At once, they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in a boat with their father Zebedee, preparing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. They just stopped what they were doing and they went. What about food? And they didn't even pack an overnight bag. For these disciples, the risk they took was immense. They didn't even know where they were going. Now, I'm not sure I would have dropped everything and gone. I mean, I don't stay anywhere overnight without taking my makeup and a hairdryer, not to mention a snack for the journey. Jesus calls ordinary people, and nothing has changed today. God is still calling ordinary people to fulfill his mission. He hasn't got a plan B. We are the plan. And God needs us to take on his mission. Everything in this life is a risk. You are given only two options. Take the risk and expect results, or don't take a risk and expect nothing. Stop procrastinating. God uses people who are willing to get out of their comfort zone. He uses people who are willing to take risks. And I wonder what risks you or I might be facing today. Maybe it's a relationship risk, a witnessing risk, a family risk, a business risk, a job risk, a life decision, even a medical risk. Whatever you are facing, know that the Lord is with you, and he makes it abundantly clear that he will help you. When you are called to step out in faith, realise that your God is greater than any problem. Be still for a second and remember who is in control. Banning Lipschner is on staff at Bethel Church in Redding, California, and he and his wife, CJ, are the directors of Jesus Culture, a ministry dedicated to mobilising, equipping, activating and sending a new breed of revivalists worldwide. He says this: God always calls us to do the impossible. He wants to throw us in way over our heads where he can make us successful according to his definition of success, rather than let us accomplish our own, inevitably limited version of the vision. He also says this: Christianity is free, but it will cost you your entire life. Jesus risked it all when he went to the cross for us. And so I ask you, what might he be asking you or I to risk for him? Nobody ever changed the world by living safe. Are you willing to take a risk for Jesus? Because it's risk takers who can change the world. J.R. Tolkien said, even the smallest person can change the course of the future. So my question to you this morning is, are you going to stand on the side and watch the ride go by? Or are you willing to get on the ride and have the thrill of your life? I encourage you now to listen to the song Oceans. And this is some of the words that it says. You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery. In oceans deep, my faith will stand. And so I just pray that as you listen to these words, you will ask yourself, what risk do I need to take for Jesus? God bless you.